It's rumored that deep in the mountains of Maryland, there's a small town with water that has healing properties. People come from all over the world to experience this seemingly magical spring, including this Kyokushin club. Now you may ask, why would a Kyokushin club need healing? Well, anyway, that's what we're in for today.
So we're gonna just get into the lake, do a basic warm-ups, then we'll go through our keyhones or basic training, all the strikes, kicks, and whatnot. Then at some point we'll circle up, we'll do some fights in the water. It's always great to get the thumping. And then we'll do the final gauntlet.
Every year for the last 41 years, the Phoenix Karate-do Kyokushin Kai meet here to train and to test. If you're unfamiliar with Kyokushin, it's regarded by many as the most brutal form of karate. While karate in general is typically barehanded, nobody does full contact quite like Kyokushin. They have a low-handed, moderately square guard with an offensive style that whips penetrating knuckles into ribs and crashes shin bones into femurs. Luckily for me, my first experience with this smash-mouth form of fighting is not going to be on dry land. Although on second thought, I kind of take it back. Because the water doesn't seem to slow these people down. There's something about the sound of hearing knuckles on rib cages that really makes you not want to go next. But I don't make YouTube videos to not go next. I make them so you can watch me go through pain.
Come on, Nick, take your head!
Hey, oh shit. Here, bottom egg. Bottom each other. Oh, Suzuki. It may take two of us for Joe.
Did the Rolling Thunder come off? Did I land it? Okay. My first taste of Kyokushin wasn't much, but it tasted like gravel? Wet gravel. Not gonna lie, I think the splashing's kind of a cheat move, but I'll allow it, it's fine. There were then a few more aqua duels before we moved on to the next tradition of Phoenix, the gauntlet. Anybody who is actively testing for a new belt must go through this double-sided line of destruction. And I figured I would also join in on the fun. As insane as that was, I have a feeling it's going to be the least hard thing about today. You can tell already the way everybody here feels about karate. It's not just like a class that they take on Wednesdays. You can feel kind of like an aura of mental fortitude that comes with it. No matter what the conditions are, they're fighting. It's very cool to see. When you learn anything, it doesn't help to be thrown immediately into the deep. Or I guess in this case, the 4-foot deep. So I asked Shihan Anthony that we met earlier if he would run me through the basics of Kyokushin.
So generally what you'll see is when I'm going to strike, the basics again would be, we're looking for the shots to the body, moving, we're looking inside, outside, front snaps, kicks to the head, spins and whatnot. Okay?
Right. What is the majority of strikes you're throwing?
Usually our hands will set up our kicks.
Okay.
So what if I came here, I'm working here, set, here I am, then boom, boom. Yeah. I'm looking to mask I'm looking to mask the kick. Striking heavy, hard, and then looking for the power.
That's interesting because
power legs.
even the setup for you guys are hard strikes still.
Yes.
Can I see your hand positioning when you strike?
So if I'm gonna hit the body, the most of the time, I'll keep elbows in and I'm just looking for good shoulder rotation and make sure my wrists don't buckle.
Yeah.
Right? And I definitely look to hit with those two knuckles.
The front two?
100%.
So like you can go straight with the pinky, you can go straight with the knuckle. Is there?
No, you'll see when I start coming in,
Yeah.
like you'll see it lead. You sometimes have to lead because if I'm coming here,
Yeah.
it's flat.
It's all four, yeah, right.
So you literally, watch my shoulder for a second. The shoulder, just slight rotation,
and you
my
lead that
knuckles
way.
come here. It's easier even for me to rotate to get those knuckles there,
Yeah.
particularly if I'm looking for more of those round strikes,
Yeah.
round to the body. You know, sheet. And even when the shitas or the shuffle punches to the body,
So you're keeping your wrist in the same position,
Same
but changing the structure,
of the laying gong coming in,
which gives you the two knuckles.
two knuckles.
And the way they hold their hand isn't something that you can just theorize. If one minor piece of the arm structure between your wrist, your hand, your arms, your knuckles, if one of those is out of place, it could be devastating because you're striking with some of the smallest bones in the whole body. It's something that takes a lot of practice. Which, oh shoot, I'm late for. The next training portion of the Kyokushin camp were the wheel sessions. 5 different high-level Kyokushin instructors teaching whatever they want.
When we're hooking for this knee, we're hooking the neck to bring him in. And in reality, if Gamino posts, I'm not gonna be able to move him down. I'm using this hook to drive myself into him.
I noticed there was a fair amount of attention on very close range fighting. The first 2 groups we were a part of both involved clinching and kneeing.
In the head, I can strike.
In fact, these techniques actually come from kata, another big part of their training. Then as we moved on, there were more things that you would apply in the actual kumite, the fighting.
It depends what the target is.
Okay.
So for example, the legs
Yeah.
is always shin. The top of the foot is usually reserved. It's much easier to land it on the head.
Does Kyokushin ever use the toes?
Like this. Or if you rotate more, like into the abdomen.
Yeah.
But this is usually a technique used by only like black belts at 2nd degree, 3rd degree.
And then we even moved on to self-defense application, simply standing up after being knocked down.
Enough control that you can stop in this position if you have to.
So while most people see Kyokushin in the context of a combat sport, for these people it's much more than that.
How sad that every one of these karate practitioners disintegrated right here. I hope they're okay. It's time for lunch.
Speaking of lunch, what do Kyokushin practitioners eat for lunch? It's a pork chop. Do you get it? Alright, enough of the pork, we'll move on. Alright, don't zoom in, the joke is over. It's done, it's history. Oh, history.
I'd love to know more about the history of Kyokushin.
Let's start it at Masuyama.
Okay.
You know, the famous name, right? The founder of Kyokushin.
Yes, sir.
But let's go back and really put it in perspective. So he's got a judo background, some Shotokan, Gojo. We're really just getting into the 50s. We're really in the 40s and things of that nature. Now we're moving down to Mas, right? He's got all these experiences and, you know, the history of him. Here's the legend, and, you know, I can't speak to all the closets,
Sure.
as I say, but
Sure.
the legend is, you know, he was Korean. Moved over to Japan. If you understand the time period, now this is around World War II-ish.
Okay.
Koreans are not treated well by the Japanese. They're looked at as a little inferior.
Sure.
He joined the military and things of that nature and got into some issues and trouble. Friends and supporters of him helped him go up into the mountains, live by himself. He went with one student at first. That student fled and he was by himself.
Oh, wow.
So he stayed up there a while until his provisions ran out. He had a sponsor.
Okay.
Came back down just for a short period of time, then he went again. And he stayed, so the legend goes, about 18 months. And he just worked on karate, he worked, you know, through nature, he trained and all of that.
Yeah.
Came down, and in all of this, he fought bulls, knocked off their horns,
I've heard of
so
this.
You've heard of that.
I've heard of the horn.
Well, that's a little, you know,
Yeah.
like say unclean closets, but you know,
Sure.
that's the story.
Yeah.
And he eventually comes down now and he starts the Oyama Dojo. Started expanding, and then in 1964, he started what we all know now as the IKO Kyokushin. So it was the International Karate Organization Kyokushin Kaiken. Now his vehicle in the end, or even in the middle, to bring his word, if you will, around the world were his tournaments. Full contact tournaments. So that's what gave it its notoriety. If we went to our lineage and I went across the board, bear with me, okay? We always give our good Gichin Funakoshi a little credit, right? We go on there. Then for us, we move on down to Mas, right? And then we go into our USA development, where we had a man named Hulan Willis, who was great in his own aspect. And we have Raymond Elmore, who is my principal teacher. So these guys are the core of us. And then later, Shigeru Oyama comes into our picture. And we work with him with Raymond's support and all of that, really to look at what we're doing, contemporize our katas a little bit. And he did keep us on, I think, the Kyokushin path, even though we were already on there.
Yeah, right.
So it's a very, we're very proud of the lineage.
You've been running this program since 81, you said?
I founded it in 81.
Okay.
Yeah, I founded it in 81.
How long have you been doing this camp?
This is the 41st camp.
Wow.
And with 41 years come traditions. Some of those more brutal than others.
It is every single Shodan candidate goes through this particular exercise.
Okay.
Some people have the advantage of...
And you said he was doing it twice?
So this is a tradition. So when I came up here at Mount St. Mary's, one of the ways we conditioned ourselves to test was to run the grotto steps. Barfed took me several hours to do. It was horrific. But it was always a part of a memory. It sucked, it was horrible, but I did it, and I returned to do it over and over again. That was part of what it meant to be a Mount Karateka and come out of Phoenix Karate Do here. Then Brad came up here for his Shodan, and we had an interesting experience, Brad, correct?
I had a mouth injury. I got my teeth knocked back, and so I wasn't able to continue with all of my kumite. Shuseki Shihan had to get creative in ways to keep me going and really feel the Phoenix in spite of that.
We're going to do a number of other activities besides run, right? And we want to hear nothing from you except for us, right?
How many times do they do this?
Depends.
Okay.
We gauge it.
Your call? Okay. So is this purely for the purposes of cardiovascular checking their endurance?
It's no.
Okay. Yeah.
It's the suck.
The suck. Just
it really
embracing
is
it?
sitting in the suck, embracing it, continuing to go.
Yeah.
The Phoenix in mythology is a bird. It's a powerful bird, but it chooses to burn itself down to nothing, and out of that nothingness rise again. So it chooses to put itself in a position to be knocked down flat.
Yeah.
It also chooses to rise again.
Very.
Right?
Yeah.
So we place ourselves in a position where we risk a lot. This is not easy to do.
Right.
Raising kids isn't easy to do. Going to work every day isn't easy to do.
Right.
We choose these things that are difficult, and then we get a little bit better.
Right.
And when the hard things hit us and knock us down, we rise again.
Love it.
And a dojo is just a place to practice all of that.
I have done nothing so far. I ran up one time. The weather is hot and it's humid. Like, this is all sweat from no effort.
We do test, how well do they do a kata when they are just exhausted?
Yeah.
How well do they perform a takedown?
Yeah.
As might happen in the real world.
Sure.
I'm out for a jog.
Yeah.
In the middle of my jog, I get attacked.
Yeah, right.
I can't go, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
I gotta catch my breath.
1 second, bad guy.
Then attack me.
Yeah. Yeah, fair.
Yeah.
So after all that, they're running takedowns, which is arguably one of the harder things to do when you're tired and when your legs have nothing. You could see it earlier. Their legs are shaking right now. If you can't do this when you're tired, you could argue, when can you do it? I mean, situationally, if you do get attacked, like, the odds are your adrenaline's gonna start pumping and you might start shaking. So getting to a point where you're exhausted and then having to make sure your technique is flawless, which most of the time it kind of has to be to perform takedown safely. What's really interesting is they're being given pointers and kind of things to switch up or change. I don't know about you guys, one of the hardest things to do when you're exhausted is being given direction and your body doesn't listen and you have to like try to make it work the way somebody's asking you to. It's very easy to get frustrated, but the only thing that's coming out of their mouth is oos. So there's no, I'm trying to do that. My body won't let me. There's no talking back. Any slight detail they're being critiqued on, they're taking it on the chin and they're moving forwards, which is really cool.
Yes, the duel. All right, guys, we're walking back to the apartment. She had diarrhea. I gotta walk ahead. I want you to walk with each other and chat. All right, just chat. Still got a little ways to go before any good big moments happen for you. So
you rock. Now, believe it or not, the reason I'm here is not to watch brown belts suffer, as much as it is one of my favorite pastimes. The only reason I'm here is actually because of a clip I saw on Instagram. Okay, I think I have exciting news. I have been trying to find a Kyokushin place for a video, probably for like a full year. In fact, I don't know if you can see it or not. Somewhere up there it is. Under my I tried list, you can see right there, it says Kyokushin. That sucker's been up there forever. I've messaged and reached out to so many different Kyokushin spots, and they all say no. Every single one of them. But I came across this video, came across this video on Instagram of these two women sparring, and I thought to myself, I have to train with them. Like, I've got to make it happen. So I reached out, like, look at this. Oh, she got one back.
Stay there, walk her down. That's it. Walk her down, walk her down.
Anyway, I reached out to them and I'm hoping I get some sort of response. And lucky for me, they did. And then they didn't for a while. But then eventually I did get back in touch with them. And Anthony, who you've met already, said, hey, we're gonna have this thing this weekend. It's a 6-hour drive away. Do you wanna be there? I'm there.
Yeah, and you know, when we get here on Friday, you know, we start early morning, and you know, when you're bare knuckle, bare shin. Now, granted, we want to be safe.
Yeah,
right?
of course.
And you know, there's going to be times in your everyday training where you're going to pad up. You know, put your shins on, put your hands on.
Yeah.
But you know, here at camp, it's time to go. It's go time.
Yeah, right.
So they're sparring full contact morning to night to Saturday to Sunday.
Oof, they're going right now even.
Yeah.
This is
Ring of Oyama.
Yeah.
We do continuous karate.
Yeah.
So a lot of places they may have one fight in, one fight out.
Yeah.
A lot of times it's 5, 6, 7, 8 fights in.
Yeah.
So you try to, you know, and that's what the progression of the tests are.
Yeah.
You know, if it's 10 minutes in, it's 10 minutes of fights straight. You know,
Yeah.
15, 20, 30, 40 an hour. So that, but here you'll see these will be more showcased fights.
I see.
Just, you know.
I think, so should I give this a shot?
100%.
Let's go.
I think you're ready. Let's do it.
I'm down.
All right, brother.
Awesome.
Let's go.
And now I get my opportunity for my one match. After what felt like years of waiting, I get to take off the gloves, take off the shin guards, and strike bare knuckle.
That wasn't that bad. I had a good time. And then, Concho, the head honcho, invited me back to do a couple more rounds. What I thought of Kyokushin was people standing and banging, and after 2 rounds, I've already had 2 completely different types of spars. The first one was what I expected of Kyokushin. The second one had kicks that came from seemingly everywhere. And the third one was sparring a Kyokushin tank. And now that I'm good and tired and my legs have been smashed to bits, it's time to spar 2 of the fastest people I've seen on the internet in the last who knows how long. Yeah, I mean, I was right, she's fast. Thank goodness there's only one of them, right? Oh, right. That is hard. That is brutal. 5 straight rounds? I think it was 5. All of them were 15 minutes. You guys have no idea. I had to cut out so much. Okay, let me get myself all situated here. Now you guys are done beating the tar out of me. I actually came here because of you and Taylor. That was like the main reason I came here, was because I saw you 2 going at it, and I was like, this is sick.
That's so cool. Oos. Yeah. That's so cool.
The way you guys train, I'm very impressed with the output that you guys have, the control that you guys have, like the aggression. How do you manage to keep all 3?
I've been a part of this association since I was 8, and I'm 21 now, so yeah, it's a lot of years of training.
Yeah, fair.
And training like that, you don't learn how to block your head until you get hit in the head, from my experience.
That's fair.
Unfortunately.
I actually reached out to Shihan Anthony, but at the time he wasn't taking in like children. I was like 8 or 9
really?
years old. Yes.
Yeah.
He does a really good job with not only instilling obviously the traditions that we have for Kyokushin, but he understands with the outside world, obviously like the art and the sport continues to evolve.
I'd imagine you do a fair amount of conditioning to keep everything in the right place.
Yeah, we definitely do a lot of conditioning drills, and a lot of those conditioning drills are just when we're training, like walking the floor.
Okay.
But then there's also like, we'll do conditioning drills where it's just hitting back and forth for a certain amount of time.
Okay.
And no like blocking, it's just getting that contact.
Yeah. Nasty. You can relax if you want to.
Yeah, this is like our
Just
already.
like this the whole time.
This is our
I'm like kind of nervous.
Yo
over here.
Dolce.
Any advice for me in my continuation of my Kyokushin?
Ooh. I think especially for the sparring, it's just the continuation.
Yeah.
Like, so you got a partner and then the next one coming in, next one coming in. You may not have that break in between.
They were doing me dirty. I didn't need all those breaks. They were pulling me aside. They were like, just breathe. And I was like, I'm good. I'm good. And I must have seemed really out of breath. And they were like, just relax. And I was like, do I look that tired? I guess so. I must have.
The contact.
The contact?
Yeah.
Okay. Just I wasn't thumping the way I should have been. I tried to do what you guys were doing, to be honest. Did anything feel like obviously different?
You're better at being light on your feet than I am. That was a little bit different.
Like, I think that's the trade-off there. I might be able to move better, but when you hit me, I'm like, What advice would you give to somebody who's a woman trying to get into martial arts that feels intimidated by the sheer amount of men in the space?
Obviously, there's going to be some insecurity, being uncomfortable, but to be honest, for me when I started, even though I wanted to do self-defense, it was a very uncomfortable thing for me to do.
Sure.
So I think that growth that you have when you do it, you're hitting all the elements of physical, mental, spiritual, and like as a woman, being in the uncomfortable will help you to grow in that aspect too.
Which is pretty consistent to what people have been saying all weekend. The Phoenix way isn't to find some comfortable position and sit in it, but to get your butt kicked, drink the healing water, and then get right back in there. I'll be honest, I didn't hop right back in there. I stuck around by the healing water fountain for like another 10 to 20 seconds.
Kyokushin means extreme or ultimate.
Oh, that's very cool.
Or ultimate.
Fitting.
But it is fitting, right?
Yeah.
It is karate do. So it is a do, and it was founded as a do, which is a way. And most people look at it as ultimate, like, you know, bam, it's ultimate, the outcome is there, it's real, which is true, right?
Sure.
But the deeper meaning really is me, you, individually, respectively, we're the ultimate. So we, up here, in mind, body, and spirit, we are the ultimate. We should be able to look in the mirror and not lie to ourselves.
Dues have been paid. Phoenix Karate Do Association Shodan Certificate. Award to Senpai Leland Schroeder. This certificate documents Senpai Schroeder with the rank of Shodan.
Hurry up! Shiani red! Anthony red! Stephanie red! Otagani red! Whoa! Let's go!